This video was sponsored by PowerCircle Clothing and Headbusters Food Company in association with Cookup Unlimited.
Cookup!
It's not a podcast.
Yo, Dennis here back with another episode of This Is Not a Podcast. Y'all already know what the lick read. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It's greatly appreciated. But first,
Hey, you right there. You watch the videos to the end.
alright, so tonight's episode of This Is Not a Podcast is gonna be a real episode. Matter of fact, one of the realest episodes I've probably ever done. We're gonna touch on something real tonight. With that being said, I think we're gonna title this episode, To Get to Know Me, You're Gonna Have to Re-Meet Me. We're gonna talk about a lot of other things in between that, so we just gonna flow with it tonight. It's been a very interesting day today. I won't get off into everything, but I had a serious moment of clarity. I've been having a lot of deep discussions with my wife off the camera, and we talk about a lot of, a wide array of different things, obviously, and she inspired me to do this episode tonight. I've been known to be a little stubborn from what I understand. My wife thinks I'm stubborn at times, so if that's the case, then maybe I can clarify this. I'm pretty, like I tell y'all should know me by now, at least all my subscribers out there, my real subscribers out there that like, subscribe, hit the notification button, that's been following me for a minute, that binge, all that. Y'all know me to be a pretty much of a straight shooter, right? I'm like that on the camera and off the camera, believe that. I'm at that age where, I'm not a disrespectful person for the record, but I am a straight shooter and I do say what's on my mind in a respectable way. Whether you like it or not, but I'm not gonna disrespect you in no way, shape, or form, especially when it comes to family, elders, or anything like that. I'm not gonna say nothing too disrespectful unless you step over the line with me first. But other than that, nah, I'm pretty much chill. If you know me, I'm just chill, laid back. That's it, that's all. With that being said, I wanna hit y'all with this little message tonight. I feel like it's on my heart to go ahead and just go for it. Oftentimes, I think when it comes to family, families is a little bit different right now. Now, I don't know about y'all, but you got some families that's real tight-knit. Even like friends, like y'all got friendships that forms brotherhoods, sisterhoods, whatever the case, and y'all are tight-knit, locked in, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the blood, a lot of times we tend to settle for things by default sometimes, and then there's others that's been wronged or hurt by other family members in a lot of different ways. It don't necessarily have to be something traumatic that you would normally hear, like like a lot of these discussions that we talk about in a lot of family households, like family secrets and things like that. A lot of stuff, when you air out your grievances, air out dirty laundry, try to get some straightening and some understanding, right? So tonight, I'm not here to expose anything or talk about my family to an extent, but this is in general though. I can use me as an example, right? So are we good? So it goes a little something like this. Now I myself, I'm pretty much what you call an introvert, a loner, sometimes a little stoic. I rarely show emotion to anything now because over time, this is what I've grown into. And sometimes, not to say it rubs people the wrong way, but people take it the wrong way. Like I said, I'm not disrespectful at all, but I'm the type of person that I want to explain something and make it very clear. Like, I'm not the type of person that hold grudges or anything like that under no circumstance. Sometimes people could know you from the past or know you from being however they perceive you to be, especially when it comes to family. And this goes out to a lot of my family members or relatives or whatever category you fit in. And I think this goes both ways. This is vice versa, not just me, but I just feel like, as we grow in life, we not meant to be the same. I've never been a bad person at all, or wild or off the chain or anything like that, but we do grow and we do change, we do get better, we do evolve. At least most of us, we change for the better. And sometimes you can't hold on to, you remember when you was little, and your family members tend to do that, and they don't respect the fact that you've grown and you are adult. Whatever the case may be, a wide array of things. Even friends, when it comes to friends, like you got friends that might have knew you in high school or might have knew you whenever they met you and expect you to be the same person. Now, we always say, I'm the same person you met, which is true. But at the same time, I respect you enough to say, I'd rather re-meet you all over again, because I know if I haven't seen you in years, there's a gap. And in that gap, we grow. Some of us grow for the better and some for the worse. Either way, we change, we grow into something. That's why I always say by default, if you think you know me, you don't know me. You have to re-meet me again. Now, my walk in life these days, I'm a lot more positive, a lot more into my spirituality these days, and I'm a lot more positive. I don't use a lot of words that I used to use anymore. In the same token, I still speak my mind. Now, a lot of y'all probably can relate to this, you know what I'm saying? And some of you, this is a lesson for y'all, especially you youngsters out there. I know like a lot of my demographic is probably like the youngest is maybe like 25. So I know you teenagers ain't watching, so I can talk to y'all because we're gonna have a real conversation. I'm gonna try to get through this real quick. Now, I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was talking about mending your differences or discussing your differences or whatever's on your mind. You should be able to say what you feel and, pull that person to the side and have a little talk with them, and you never know what can come out of that, which is perfectly fine. To the effect of the conversation, which I won't disclose because, some conversations is really not for the public. But in this case, sometimes when you meet somebody, whether it's a family member, a relative, a friend, or somebody that might have wronged you or something, and sometimes, a lot of us have a tendency of holding on to that bad energy, holding on to those things. If a person wronged you, a person lied on you, or a person out here, just ridiculing you all over the place, so you might feel a little type of way. I've endured a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying? But you would never know because over time, I became stoic to a lot of things, monotone to a lot of things, you know what I mean? It's other things like if you have something that you feel convicted about, then I feel like you should talk to that person or address the situation head on just to free yourself. We were watching a sermon tonight. The preacher was saying that in order for you to move forward, I'm paraphrasing by the way, I'm not saying the exact words. In order to move forward in the future, you have to correct your past. And I was like, that's pretty deep because most people usually have to address your past, correct your past. Now, don't get me wrong, we all have our flaws. We all are not perfect. We're human, right? So everything could be, differences can be settled. Relationships can be mended if necessary. But then it's also necessary that it's okay to say, something, I forgive you. But with all due respect, I'm gonna stay right here. And I'm that type of person. Like if I feel like I'm a person that's ingenuine or I feel like there's no issues there or no reason to have a conversation, that don't necessarily mean we beefing. That's just simply meaning that if I see you in public, I can be cordial enough to say, hey, how you doing? Nice seeing you. Check you out. See you later. Till next time. And it's not gonna go that far. I'm at that age where I'm not really for small talk. I really like to cut to the chase. I'm that type of person. I've had a few incidents where, like sometimes like some people might want to convince you to, hey man, you should talk to that person. I guess this is where the stubbornness come into play. And I don't really consider it stubborn, but this is just me. I'm not telling y'all this is how y'all should be. This is just the way I am. This is just my makeup. So I'm gonna be honest enough to tell you. I feel like if I don't have to talk to a person, there's no need to have a phony conversation or there's no need to small talk if I don't need to. And if somebody really, not to say, or maybe I should say, that cares about your well-being enough to say, hey, let's have a chit chat or let's have a one-on-one or whatever the case may be. And if it's something bothering you, then you should talk to that person. If it's nothing bothering you and you completely fine with the way life is and the way your life is and the way things are going, then so be it. I mean, I'm more of a self-contained unit, you know what I mean? Like, my priorities is more like, I'm one of them dudes, like, I'm all about my family. Like, I'm all about, meaning that, like, my wife, my kids is the bottom line for me, you know what I mean? And I think any man, husband, father, would agree that, that's what my bottom line is, you know what I mean? So anything outside of that is, I'm not gonna say irrelevant, I'm just gonna say secondary, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, because those are mine. I'm responsible for them in the sense of I have to protect them. I have to make sure that I make sure, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes, people can misinterpret things like they expect you to be this person or they expect you to be a certain way, when the reality is I'm not. If you haven't been around me, then you're gonna definitely need to re-meet me, because I am not the same person. And that's why I say, and that goes both ways. Like if I ain't seen nobody in a long time, I don't expect you to be the same person. I got friends that we have friendships that probably lasted maybe 20 plus, sometimes even 30 years. I wouldn't dare expect them to be the same person I met years ago. I expect change, I expect growth, just like you expect growth from me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna respect you enough to re-meet you all over again. Now, relatives got this problem bad. Like, and a lot of family members, especially like your elders, if you young, they expect you to be that same person that whoever they met, however they last seen you or met you, they expect you to be that person. And I'm like, no, a lot has changed. No, I'm not that person. And I find it a little offensive at times because I'm like, no, I'm not that person. Nor am I standoffish, but that's kind of a crazy thing to say. Like, you expect me to be the same person from wherever you met me? No, I'm not the same person. I definitely changed. I definitely grew since whatever the last time you saw me. And I think out of an interest of fairness, I should say, you got to re-meet me all over again. So for those of you that, all my friends, family, relatives, whatever category you fall in, you're going to have to re-meet me. And the same thing goes with whoever you are or whatever category you fit in. I'm gonna show you that same respect if the stars align and we meet or our paths cross. I'm gonna respect you enough to say, you know what, I'm gonna have to re-meet you again because I'm pretty sure you're not the same person. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we finna kumbaya and I'm gonna go about my life, you're gonna go about yours. But I'm not gonna small talk. I'm not really a small talk. If I'm a small talk, I could do that on social media. I don't even do that in business. Like, I ain't no small talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like I should be reaching out to somebody I don't need to reach out to. If we don't have no issues, then there's no need to say, well, hey, hi, how you doing? Just checking on you. Now, I do check on people, don't get me wrong. But it's people that I talk to either on a daily basis or I check on every now and then just to tap in with you. Then there's others that, there's really no need for that because I'm like, it's not that it's nothing there because it's not nothing there. Some people I just flat out just forgive and there's no need to talk to them because I already forgave you. And whatever issues that you think we may have, or if you think it's an issue, it's really no issue. I don't have issues with nobody, to be honest with you. Now, it might be a lot of people, maybe a few people that may have rubbed me the wrong way in the past, and that's okay. I forgive them too because you can't hold that stuff in because that's the bad energy, and I'm not with that. I'm all about positive energy and moving forward. And sometimes they say in order to move forward, you gotta correct your past, which means that whatever you might be holding back there, or if you're holding on to something from the past, it's good that you find closure and address it if that applies to you. But in my case, it's not too much that I would have to, reach in my past for. Do we have regrets? I think everybody can live with no regrets, but deep down inside, you probably got some regrets here and there that you might have wish you could have did one thing better, or you could wish you could have did this, or wish you could have went right when you should have went left. There's a lot of different things you could assess in your life that you would love to make a correction if you could. If God gave you a chance to make that correction, and you would do it. And for me, I would say I can say if I ever made a correction, it would be, being a better person. We all could make better decisions. Like, I ain't never really did nothing crazy to the point where I would have to say, man, if I would have did it like this and that. Now, we all go through the trials and tribulations of life. And sometimes, depending on who you are, sometimes, you might have did something in your past and everybody looking at you sideways, so you'll be forever labeled this certain type of person. In their mind, this is how they perceive you to be. And a lot of times that's, sometimes, some people just don't change. Some people change for the worse. Now, for those that fall in that category, it's definitely justifiable if you don't show growth. If you haven't, if there's no evidence of growth, then somebody's just miserable and apparently they have some issues, some underlying issues that they need to address. Now, for me, I don't really fall in that category, but what category I do fall in, I think everybody can relate to this. Like, it's people out there that's been lied on, ridiculed, or even you might have some people that might look at you funny, you know what I'm saying, or the room get different when you walk in. Well, I don't feel no way about none of that, and I can walk in any room with my head high and I sleep good at night. However, but at the same time, I'm not the one that like to phony kick it or pretend. So I can address the situation in the room. And if there's anything you want to ask me, feel free. I mean, that's just how I was brought up. But at the same time, my old man taught me a very valuable rule that I still use to this day. And my father used to tell me something like this. He used to say, I got rules. He used to always talk about rules. And as a man, I think a man should have rules. That's one piece of advice my father gave me before. And he always often talked about, I got rules. And every man should have rules. And if you got rules, you break them for no one. And I'm a man of principle and I stand on what I stand on. And sometimes that might come off as a sense of stubbornness, but it's not. I don't feel like it's not, because I'm the type that, if you wrong me or if you show me who you really are, and that's how I judge people. Well, if you reveal yourself and show me who you really are, then who am I to get in your way? I say keep going. I've had individuals that, did all sorts of things. Everybody like to spread false narratives, rumors. Everybody done got lied on before. But in my case, I have a situation where I had somebody spread a rumor or a lie or told a lie that was repeated to them and let it keep going, as opposed to finding out if it's true or even stepping to me as a man to say, hey man, is it true? Or call me out on it. Feel free. At least let me, at least see if I'm telling the story, or see if I'm lying, or see if I'm telling the truth. And you can, whatever you decide, that's fine with me. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna stay on the right side of the truth. And that's just what it is. Now, that's just giving you a prime example of like what these things are. Sometimes if a person wronged you or did you like that, sometimes they could tell and they'll go off and they'll tell this person, that person. And something's gonna convict that person to say, well, is it true? Or man, this happened, man, I just got to ask. It don't sound right. Well, you can hear it from the horse's mouth, and then from there you can assess the situation how you see fit. And the point is, I don't have to, hey man, woo woo. Now don't get me wrong. Like if somebody says something bad about you or spread some type of rumor or whatever, you're gonna address the situation as you see fit. Now, I myself, we don't tolerate disrespect, and respect is the bottom line. That's just one of my things. Like I got two pet peeves in a way. I don't like my intelligence to be insulted, and I don't tolerate disrespect from no man, no woman. It's just because I give respect. It's not so much as I'm a tough guy. I just don't tolerate it because I'm not a disrespectful person just by nature. Never been that type. But if you violate, then we're gonna have to deal with it how we gotta deal with it. That's just what it is. I think that's how I was brought up. Like we don't do disrespect. Like if I disrespected somebody, then we got to deal with it. But I'm not a disrespectful person. So however, I know what it feels like to be disrespected on a lot of different levels. Sometimes, I've grown as a person. In your younger days, you're hot-headed. You're going to address it with physicality or some sort of violence or verbally or whatever the case may be, because a lot of adolescents go through these type of things these days, and mental health is definitely real. But a lot of these shorties, like right now, this new generation have a issue with dealing with their emotions. And I'm not comparing my day or this day or whatever the case, but I can only speak about me. And for me personally, I've never been that type of a person to get emotional or wear it on my sleeve too much. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, I know when I've grown, but I'm also a person that like to address the situation. Like if I feel like I'm disrespected or if you've been misinformed about something, I would definitely pull you to the side and I will have a one-on-one talk with you, and we gonna get some understanding. Now, that don't necessarily mean in an act of violence, but just a verbal conversation that we can get some understanding. Maybe you've been misinformed. And then there's others that, have a certain disdain for you. You got some people that just want to go tell on the mountain just being messy, and then they find themselves in a situation they can't get out of. You know what I mean? And for that reason, as time goes on, I feel like in that type of scenario, I feel like I don't let, this is where the change come in. The older me would tell the younger me, just be cool, fall back, let God sort them out. You don't have to fight nobody in the physical. You let God do his thing. Sometimes, things don't call for that. And that's why I say, some people probably would expect you to be that way. But in reality, you might have changed. You might have grew up. You might be a different person, a better person. You know what I'm saying? You might not react to certain things no more. Certain things might not affect you no more. And for me, a lot of things in life that I've dealt with and been through, I became monotone to it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going through anything. Don't get it twisted. I'm not going through anything. Life is good. God is good. I'm just simply saying that sometimes situations arise, and sometimes it builds your character. It makes you or it breaks you. And for me, I've grew and I've learned to forgive, and learn to live and let live, regardless of whatever you did in the past. It's just that. However, it's a lesson in everything that you deal with. Whether you did wrong or you didn't, it's a lesson in it, and it's a blessing in it as well. Meaning that I'm gonna be a better person, learn how to deal with certain conflicts, learn to master the art of conflict resolution. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, especially in families, sometimes you can't talk to one another sometimes, or you can't get along because you holding something inside you that you holding in that's probably stunned your growth. And a lot of times, we have to really have a heart-to-heart with the big man upstairs. I don't know how many of y'all spiritual, How many of y'all pray? Whoever you pray to, sometimes you gotta take it to the big man. And the big man gotta work on your inside. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect nobody to change if you not to change. You got to be the change. Sometimes it calls for you to, if you had issues with a person, it's okay to say, hey man, let me talk to you. Or, hey girl, let me talk to you. Let's get to the bottom of our differences if it's possible. I'm gonna tell you how I feel, you tell me how you feel, and we're gonna come to a conclusion. But that don't necessarily mean we finna be at odds, or if we can agree to disagree, whatever the issue may be, at least you can find some sort of closure if you fall in that category. Some things don't even need a conversation because you already know what's happening. And saying to know me is to love me. Anybody know that. But if you don't know me, or if you knew me, then you don't know me. I said that in a rap before. But it's real though. If you knew me, then you don't know me. Because why? You gotta re-meet me. That's like if I knew a person, I don't know you no more. I haven't been around you. A lot has changed. It's a middle ground there that, a lot of life has happened. So I'm gonna have to re-know you again. I'm gonna have to give you the respect and get to know you all over again and find out who the person is today. And me, the person today, is not the person of yesterday. My yesterday is not today anymore. And it's not to say, when people say change, they don't necessarily mean Hollywood or nothing like that. This is personal change, simply put, growth. By default, we all can be cordial to one another without melee or even having an issue. And that's without underlying issues, that's not holding anything in. And if for anybody out there that's holding something in, if you got a grudge against family members, if you holding grudges against a significant other, friends, you name it, you might not want to carry that with you because number one, that's not healthy. Two, you got to work on yourself first. I've learned to be better over time, and I learned to work on myself and learning to be an even better person because I'm not a bad person at all. I want the best for everybody in a perfect world, and I wish nothing but health, wealth, success to everybody all over. Regardless if you want it for me or not, I wish it for everybody. I wish everybody nothing but the best. But then I don't have to speak to you every day or any day. I don't have to speak to you ever again, and I'll still be the same way. I'm gonna wish you nothing but the best again. But when there's disrespect, that's when the conflict arises. When you feel like you've been wrong, that's when the conflict arises. But when that time comes, learning to master the art of conflict resolution takes time. Because sometimes, the brain needs to develop more than you think. You have to be willing to receive things like honest criticism or just being honest. You got to receive honesty or letting a person tell their truth, letting them have the floor. Some people might say, I don't like what you said, or I don't like this. I've just learned to be vocal. Like the older I get, the more vocal I become. And this is a person that I'm not much for words at all, and yet I'm doing things like this. All I'm saying is it's simple. If you knew me, then you don't know me. And that's the message for the day. I think I'm gonna end this vlog right here because I don't want to keep rambling over and over again, making this some long drawn out vlog when knowing good and well we need you brothers and sisters out there to continue to watch these videos and like and subscribe and hit the notification button. We definitely need the watch time. I'm gonna try my best to continue to give you guys the best content I could possibly give you. I'm only a work in progress. That's it, that's all, man. And as always, keep God first, stay sucker free, and by all means get to the money. Peace and love, stay healthy, and I'm out this joint. Peace.